this could affect you. And an East Texas heartbreak for a school community. The tragic crash that claimed the life of a superintendent's wife and how she is being remembered this morning. Plus, thousands of children in state care are waiting for a safe and stable place to call home. This morning, one East Texan is taking action to change that. Angela Bass is here to share how her organization is helping foster youth and how you can get involved.
And temperatures continue to be above average into this afternoon. We'll go into how hot we'll get in your forecast coming up. So stay right there because Morning Y'all on CBS 19 Plus starts right now.
Together, we're putting East Texas first. You're watching Morning Y'all on CBS 19 Plus.
Good morning, y'all. Thank you for sticking with us on CBS 19 Plus. I'm Dana Dixon. Jesus Martinez is on assignment today. We're so glad that you're starting your morning with us, and we're so glad that the skies are showing off again on this Wednesday morning. Those pink skies with the orange hues, it's just gorgeous out there.
Absolutely, and there's, unlike yesterday, today we are cloud-free this morning. So, I mean, you can just see tons of colors out there. It's a beautiful start to the day for sure. We're looking live in Nacogdoches. There's the stadium of SFA there. Temperatures now in the low to mid 60s. We got 66 in Jacksonville this morning, 67 in Palestine, 63 there in Nacogdoches. Our lowest temperature now, 59 degrees in Center, and we also got 65 degrees in Tyler. The other thing that we're watching for here, we saw a little bit of haze in Nacogdoches, which puts our visibilities down to about 9 miles. Not too bad, but the lowest visibility there is 1¼ miles in Carthage. So we got some patchy fog in some of our eastern parts of the area, down to 6 miles of visibility in Marshall, Jefferson, and Linden, and as low as 5 miles of visibility. So just definitely take precaution if you're heading in that direction. There's going to be some dense fog in those areas. For this afternoon, upper 80s to low 90s, sunshine all around. For the next 4 days, we're going to continue that trend of sunny conditions. A couple of showers could be possible on Thursday. I'll show you what that looks like in your future Skycast coming up.
Thank you, Joel. Continuing our coverage now on a live look at the nation's capital, where the federal government is shut down this morning. Today, tens of thousands of federal workers will be notified to stay home, furloughed without pay, while thousands of essential employees like military troops and those air traffic controllers that keep you safe will report for duty also without pay. Now, this comes after multiple proposals to keep the government funded past midnight failed in the U.S. Senate. Now, Republicans in the Senate pushed for the Clean House bill passed that extends funding into next month. Now, Senate Democrats want a bill that also extends federal health care subsidies and protects Medicaid. CBS News' Naomi Ruckham has more on that and what it means for you from New York.
Today, tens of thousands of federal workers will be notified to stay home, furloughed without pay. Thousands of essential employees like military troops and air traffic controllers will report for duty also without pay.
The bill, upon reconsideration, is not passed.
This comes after multiple proposals to keep the government funded past midnight failed in the U.S. Senate.
This is unnecessary, avoidable.
Senate Republicans pushed for the Clean House passed bill that extends funding into next month. Senate Democrats want a bill that also extends federal health care subsidies and protects Medicaid.
The bottom line is we need to stop these premiums from going up dramatically. We need to do it now.
President Trump now threatens mass layoffs and federal cuts directed at Democrats.
We'd be laying off a lot of people that are going to be very affected, and they're Democrats. They're going to be Democrats. We can get rid of a lot of things that we didn't want, and they'd be Democrat things.
The top House Democrat, Hakeem Jeffries, responded on CNN.
He will be held back by the courts if he takes this aggressive action, which violates the law.
For now, federal workers are bracing for impact.
I am the primary breadwinner of my household, so we will be tightening belts.
Americans will continue to receive Social Security and passports, though the TSA warns travelers to expect delays. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
Two Democrat Senators John Fetterman and Catherine Cortez Masto supported the House-passed bill in yesterday's Senate vote, as did Maine Independent Angus King. Republican Rand Paul, though, joined the Democrats in voting against it. Members of Congress and the president will continue to receive their paychecks during the shutdown. The last shutdown, which was back in 2018, lasted longer than a month. 5 minutes after 7 now, and we're learning new details in a deadly crash involving a runaway teen in a stolen truck. Lufkin police say the teen sped off before officers could stop him, crashing into another car. That driver of the other car was 40-year-old Morgan Ashley Wright, who has since died from her injuries. She was the wife of Wells ISD Superintendent Friday Wright. State troopers are now handling the criminal investigation into this crash, and an internal review is underway. And now loved ones are not only remembering Morgan Wright as a fierce competitor in the rodeo world, but also as a devoted mother and wife. Wright's rodeo roots ran really deep. Her family has been part of the sport for generations, with her mother even a national champion. Morgan started competing at just 6 years old and went on to win dozens of titles and awards throughout her career. But beyond the trophies, friends say Morgan's true strength was her kindness and the way she lit up every room she entered, both in competition and at her home with family.
Like, everything we do is competitive in barrel racing. But anytime that she was around, her smile just lit up the room.
No, we just loved her. She was a bright light, just beautiful inside and out.
Morgan Wright leaves behind her husband Friday and their 2 daughters. Her family and friends say her spirit will live on in the arena and in the hearts of everyone she touched. Well, that deadly crash in Lufkin has since raised questions about how and when officers decide to chase a suspect. Rick Helfer is a professor of criminal justice and retired police officer with 25 years of experience, says each agency has its own pursuit policy, taking into account the severity of the crime, traffic, road conditions, and even the time of day. He says officers are trained to weigh the risk of a chase against the need to make an arrest, and they do have the discretion to call it off.
The officers have a duty that the citizens expect them to enforce the law, while at the same time they have to balance the safety of the public on that. Unfortunately, officers and the supervisors that may have been monitoring that pursuit did not have the benefit of knowing how it was going to end.
Helfer says investigations into fatal crashes involving law enforcement are typically handled by DPS. He stresses that the decision-making during pursuits is dynamic and very complex, with public safety always a top priority. Well, we are still waiting to learn more about the condition of a Longview man hospitalized after a shooting. Here's what we know so far. Police say they were called to Johnson Street just before 10 Monday night. That's where officers found the man with a gunshot wound. He was rushed to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Longview police are asking anyone with information on this shooting to give them a call. You can reach out anonymously to Gregg County Crime Stoppers at 903-236-STOP. We'll update you on air and on CBS19.tv once we learn more. President Trump is framing homelessness and mental illness as a public safety threat, backing forced commitments to psychiatric hospitals and expanded outpatient care. But treatment beds and workers are already in short supply, and President Trump's own cuts to Medicaid and housing undermine his plans. So far, the administration has not pledged any new funding. Meanwhile, in a rare meeting of hundreds of America's military leaders, President Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth told troops to get in line with President Trump's agenda or resign. Among other glaring statements, Hegseth said it was unacceptable to see fat generals, he said, quote, in the halls of the Pentagon. Naomi Ruckham has more from the gathering, plus the latest on the president's push to lower drug prices.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth welcomed the nation's top military brass to Washington by announcing new standards on troops' physical fitness.
It's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon.
Hegseth told the crowd of nearly 800 military leaders that troops would be required to pass a combat field test and meet grooming standards.
No more beards, long hair, superficial individual expression.
He also touted a return to, quote, the highest male fitness standards, saying it's not the intent to keep women out of combat roles, but acknowledged that could be the result. President Trump also spoke to the group himself, saying that, quote, dangerous cities like Chicago should be used as training grounds for U.S. troops.
This is going to be a major part for some of the people in this room. That's a war, too. It's a war from within.
Democrats like Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth, a veteran herself, fought back fiercely, calling the proposal illegal
and unconstitutional. You cannot deploy our military onto the streets of our cities.
Also on Tuesday, President Trump celebrated his win against drug maker Pfizer, announcing the company has agreed to offer lower prices on some prescriptions through a federally operated website called Trump RX. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
11 minutes after 7, time for your morning headlines. Federal funding for public media has now run dry. With the government's fiscal year ending yesterday, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting is laying off staff and winding down operations. This summer, Republicans in Congress pulled back $1 billion that had been budgeted for public media. And some sad news to report, Texas A&M is mourning the loss of a beloved symbol. Miss Reveille 9, the First Lady of Aggie Land, passed away early Friday due to pneumonia. She served as the university's official mascot from 2015 until her retirement in 2021, and it's cared for by the Stevenson Center and the A&M Small Animal Teaching Hospital. Lieutenant General James Byerman, Commandant of the Corps of Cadets, called her passing an immense loss for Aggies everywhere. Funeral services are still pending. And a powerful 6.9 magnitude earthquake struck the central Philippines late Tuesday, killing at least 13 people when a sports complex collapsed during a basketball game. The U.S. Geological Survey says the quake hit just offshore near a province where there was damage to malls, schools, and churches. The Philippine Red Cross says that more than 60 people were injured, while officials warned of aftershocks. And a judge rejected a bid by Sean Diddy Combs to overturn his conviction in a decision filed Tuesday. The judge denied Combs' request to vacate his conviction on prostitution-related charges or allow for a new trial. Combs was convicted in July of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, which carry a maximum sentence of 10 years on each count. Federal prosecutors are asking for more than 11 years in prison. 7:12 now. Let's take a little break from today's news to bring you our question of the day. Since it is October 1st, what is something that excites you about October?
Yeah, I think this one, I was thinking about, I feel like this is a big month for a lot of people.
Okay, why?
Well, because a lot of people love Halloween.
They do.
But also the fall weather.
Yes.
I feel like people, I know I can't even say the word,
meteorological.
Yeah, fall begins like in September, right?
September 1st.
Yeah. Okay.
They got that wrong, by the way.
But the people,
not for us anyways. There's no fall.
Yeah, but people generally think like, no, fall begins in October, you know?
Yeah.
So
right.
It's a big month. And for me, I think what excites me most is the fact that we're this much closer to Thanksgiving. That's the biggest part about October is we're getting closer to the holidays.
The autumnal equinox is also in September, so.
Right.
See, that's how you know you're smarter than me. I have no idea what that even is.
I just listened to Joel. He
autumn, first day of fall, the autumn equinox.
Okay. What's something that excites y'all about October?
Putting the pumpkins out on the front porch. I love how it looks, and I need to do that. I got to get up in the attic. That doesn't excite me because it doesn't feel like fall yet, so you know how the attic feels, right?
Yeah.
But I love seeing all the pumpkins out there and the leaves start turning colors.
Yes,
that's got to be yours, right, Joel?
Yeah, that was definitely mine. And then I also think of hay. Like when I think of fall, I think of like the hay rides and stuff that I used to do when I was a kid, apple cider, donuts. That just might be just a fall thing in general, but in October, especially up north, it starts to get a little cool.
It starts to feel like fall. Lucky. Here we definitely have pumpkin patches that you can go to and take the kids. I used to love that. I have teenagers now, so the chances of me getting a picture with them with a pumpkin, not real good.
Tell them you're never too cool to do that.
Yeah, never too cool.
But one of my favorite pictures is from a pumpkin patch of them. I've got it sitting out in my living room. I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm seeing some scarecrows out there too.
Oh, okay. I've never been to a pumpkin patch before, so maybe I need to do that. Yeah,
you gotta do it.
No, well, I wouldn't mind, but no, man. Growing up, my mom was like, "We're too busy for all that." You know what I mean? So that's how it was. But
you did get to do Halloween, right?
Oh, of course. And I was I'll tell you what I was dressed as Halloween when we come back to this question. I'm not going to tell you right now.
Okay, can't wait.
Yeah.
A little bit of a tease there.
I like that. Okay, see you there.
All right, let's get outside now, see how the traffic's looking as we're getting to our 7 o'clock hour.
Let's do it. All right, let's get outside to our CBS19 on-scene unit this morning. It's a beautiful day. Beautiful start, and it's going to be a beautiful day altogether. We are on Highway 155 South in Smith County. It is a lovely day. We got the traffic starting to pick up just a little bit. Clear skies overhead, unlike yesterday, so we see plenty of sunshine, plenty of pictures out there, or just plenty of gorgeous colors, I should say, as we take a look at our skies. But the traffic is looking good. Let's get on over to I-20 this morning. So far, things are still in pretty good shape. We got 2 hours up to Dallas and then an hour and 30 minutes over to Shreveport. US 69, 2.5 hours up to Denison and an hour and 30 minutes down to Lufkin. Still looking pretty good out there. As far as some of the other routes out there, Jacksonville to Nacogdoches is going to be about 50 minutes. Tyler to Longview, 40 minutes. Tyler to Palestine, 55 minutes. And then we have, again, Tyler to Athens, around a 45-minute commute. So it should be smooth sailing as you head out this morning. Let's take a look at current visibilities. Again, Carthage is the low spot here. 1.25 mile visibilities. We got some patchy, dense fog in some parts of the area, mainly in some of our eastern zones here. Some parts, of course, are a little bit better than others, but still you'll notice a little bit of a haze, a little bit of a fogginess to the air, especially if you are in Linden, Jefferson, and Marshall. Even a little bit of haze in Nacogdoches and Jacksonville, so just kind of keep that in mind as you head out this morning. Otherwise, your commute forecast is fantastic as we head into this morning and into this afternoon. Green time 6 is what I'm giving you for all through today. We'll be up to 90 degrees with partly cloudy skies.
All right, thank you, Joel. Well, this morning we're learning more about children in state care and them facing uncertain futures, not because they've done anything wrong, but because there simply aren't enough safe, stable placements to meet their needs. Right now, more foster placements are needed that provide a nurturing and supportive home to them. And one East Texan is on a mission to help support youth entering the foster care system. And you can do that as well. Angela Bass joins us now to tell us more about her organization. It is called Empowered Youth, right?
Yes.
So how did this get started for you?
For me, so I aged out of the foster care system, and I do believe what I went through led me to do this and to be able to be a part of the journey for this, and to lend my story to these kids to provide them support. And so through that, I decided that, you know, I had a lot of good support to empower me to continue to move forward. And that's exactly what I want to do for these kids who are in the system.
Let's go back a little bit. What was your experience like in that system?
You know, we all have our ups and downs, but unfortunately, I had really good support. And had I not, I would not be here, I do not believe. So I had a pretty well experience. There were things, you know, just like anywhere, that was scary, terrifying, some things that I didn't agree with. But I did meet some pretty incredible people along the way.
Where did your support come from?
So Carol Clark, who was a judge for Smith County, she's now my grandmother. She'll tell you to this day. She's my granddaughter. She was very supportive. I went into her office at 16 and wanted to be emancipated because I thought I knew it all. But she fairly quickly, you know, told me, hey, Angela, why don't you stick it out? Let's age out. Let's get you into college. And let's get you through what's next. Because at 18, you do get certain things that, you know, I didn't have any family support. And so they were able to provide me services such as funding for an apartment, it helped me with transportation, and to truly just step into those roles that I was missing, you know, since I had no family.
So how does Empowered Youth help East Texas children?
So this will be a placement for boys and girls. And through this, I'm hoping to provide services that will give them the tools to be able to succeed just like I did. And to also give them staff members and, you know, service members who actually help provide them with that support and that empowerment to keep pushing forward.
And you're still working on getting all the pieces to your dream in place.
I am, yes ma'am.
So tell us a little bit about what's next for you.
What's next is I would like to have a facility. So I'm looking for a facility with land, and it's to be able to house from 12 to 21-year-olds. and to also have that transitional housing when they do turn 18, to give them kind of like an apartment setup. So they already know what it's going to be like to be an adult, and not technically on their own, but most definitely, yes.
So if people want to reach out to you, if they need your help, give them your website.
So it is the Empowered Youth. You can go on our Facebook, and we do have our website on there. So you just have to click the link, and then it brings you to our website.
Well, appreciate all you're doing for kids here in East Texas. Thank you again for sharing your story.
Thank you.
All right, still ahead in sports, it is week 6 of the high school football season. We're going to have a preview of a couple big games of the season that's coming up right after the break.
It's time for CBS19 Sports.
Welcome back, East Texas. I'm Damian Bartonik, and you know what time it is. Time to talk all things sports. Week 6 of the high school football season is here, and in our game of the week, we have not only a pair of 4-1 teams squaring off, but it's rivalry week as the Kilgore Bulldogs will travel to take on the Henderson Lions in what will be a matchup for the ages. Let's go ahead and break it down real quick, folks. After a week 1 loss to Carthage, the Bulldogs have been on a mission. They've won 4 straight over White House, Gilmer, Pleasant Grove, and Pine Tree. They're heading into the Lions' Den to face a Henderson team that's off to a 4-1 start themselves. Now, Henderson has scored at least 49 points in every single game this season and is coming into Friday night with enough momentum to catapult just about any team towards a playoff run. But that's not the only game we're covering on Friday night. My boys Jimmy Searfoss and Dan Millay are heading to the bold, the beautiful, the historic Tomato Bowl in Jacksonville, where the Indians will be hosting the Bobcats out of Hallsville. Now, Jacksonville and new head coach Monty Stevenson haven't quite found their footing just yet. Still winless at 0-5, but the good news for them is, well, Hallsville is winless too. And as we love to say here at CBS 19, somebody's O has got to go. Tune into the kickoff show at 6:30 and come back for all the highlights from Beast Texas at 10 and find out which squad earns its first dub of the year. In Major League Baseball wildcard action, the Yankees host the Red Sox, and here's a hard stop for the Bombers. Anthony Volpe goes deep to right to make it 1-0 New York, but it was all downhill from there. After 6 1/3 scoreless innings from the starter Max Fried, Luke Weaver enters the game and immediately blows the lead, allowing a pair of base runners before Matsusaka Yoshida drives them both home. Then in the 9th, Boston leads grows from 2-1 to 3-1 as Alex Bregman smokes this ball down the left field line to bring home Trevor Story. However, don't look now. The Yanks would load the bases in the bottom of the 9th with nobody out, just to squander that golden opportunity. Giancarlo Stanton strikes out. Jazz Chisholm flies to right, and just not deep enough to bring it home. It was a tough one. The Red Sox take Game 1 in the Bronx 3-1. And out in LA, the Dodgers slapped up the Reds. They beat on them good, man. 10-5 was your final score there. Teoscar Hernandez and Shohei Ohtani both homered twice. And man, the Dodgers initially jumped out to an 8-0 lead before closing it out at home. And finally, some WNBA news for y'all. The Wings have fired coach Chris Coclains after just 1 season at the helm. Dallas had a league-worst 10-34 record this season, despite Paige Becker's historic rookie year, that is. In a statement, Wings executive and vice president Kurt Miller said in part, quote, "As we enter a pivotal point in our team's future, we felt a change in leadership at this time was best for our organization," end quote. The Wings say the search for a new head coach will begin immediately. All right, now that is all the time I have for you in sports this morning, but keep it here as we got plenty of news and weather coming up very soon. Morning, y'all.
Thank you, Damian. We're about to step away for a moment while we break into our over-the-air broadcast with a news update. We'll be right back here on CBS 19+. Good morning, y'all. I'm Dana Dixon. Thanks for being with us for this news update. We are still waiting to learn more about the condition of a Longview man hospitalized after a shooting. Here's what we know so far this morning. Police say they were called to Johnson Street just before 10 Monday night. That's where officers found the man with a gunshot wound. He was rushed to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Longview police are asking anyone with information to call them or reach out anonymously to Gregg County Crime Stoppers at 903-236-STOP. We'll update you on air and on CBS19.tv once we learn more. A heartbreaking situation out of Overton. A woman is behind bars and a 13-year-old was hit by a car on school property. This all unfolded Saturday at Overton ISD. Police say the child became trapped under the vehicle after the crash. Instead of calling 911 right away, people nearby tried to help on their own. Investigators say in a reckless move, the woman got back behind the wheel and drove over the child a second time. The child was airlifted to the hospital. The woman was arrested yesterday by U.S. Marshals and is charged with aggravated assault. She's being held on a $150,000 bond. A 23-year-old man from Diana is in custody, accused of serious crimes involving a child. Florencio Sauceda II was arrested Friday after police say he barricaded himself inside a home, prompting a response from Marshals' Special Response Team. Authorities were able to safely take him into custody without injury. Sauceda now faces multiple felony charges, including sexual assault of a child and continuous family violence. No further details have been released at this time. 6 East Texas nonprofits are getting a major boost in their mission to improve community health. More than $300,000 in grants were awarded yesterday to groups tackling needs from food insecurity and safe housing to mental health and chronic illness. The funding comes from the Christus Community Impact Fund, which is distributing $3.7 million this year across Texas, Louisiana, and New Mexico. Local groups like Buckner CFS, Longview, and the Women's Center of East Texas will use the money to fight homelessness, hunger, and support mental health. Well, it's a gorgeous day as you get ready to head out on this Wednesday. Let's check in with Joel.
Yeah, it certainly is a pretty good day here across the area for sure. We got a couple of areas of high pressure here in our upper levels. That's going to keep us nice and sunny and nice and dry for the most part. We do have improvements to our fire danger risk thanks to some lower wind speeds. It's still going to be pretty dry for the most part, but we are now in that low to moderate category. We have gotten rid of that high category, luckily, as we head into today. We are going to be watching for a little bit of a decrease in that humidity into this weekend and an elevated wind speed as well. We'll see some elevated winds out there, especially as we go into Saturday. That could elevate our fire weather risk on Saturday. So if you have any weekend plans that have anything to do with maybe some bonfires, I would definitely avoid it altogether or definitely use precaution. Our 7-day forecast, on the other hand, is very quiet. A couple of showers possible for your Thursday. Otherwise, we are going to be rain-free for quite some time here.
Welcome back to Morning Y'all on CBS 19 Plus. This is what's coming up in our second half hour. With church shootings on the rise, East Texas safety teams are getting prepared. We take you inside a course designed to help congregations stay alert and alive. And he never stopped believing it was possible. At 66 years old, the Texas man is proving it is never too late to learn, and his journey is inspiring a community.
And it's our first week of October. Can you believe it? It's going to not really feel like it as far as our forecast goes. Temperature-wise, we do have some rain showers possible as we head into tomorrow in some parts of the area. I'll show you what that looks like in your future Skycast and your forecast coming up on Morning Y'all on CBS 19+.
Together, we're putting East Texas first. You're watching Morning Y'all on CBS 19+.
Good morning, y'all. Thank you for staying with us here on CBS 19+. I'm Dana Dixon. We're so glad you're joining us. Jesus is on assignment. 7:32 now. A heartbreaking situation out of Overton. A woman is behind bars after a 13-year-old was hit by a car on school property. This all unfolded Saturday at Overton ISD. Police say the child became trapped under the vehicle after the crash. Instead of calling 911 right away, people nearby tried to help on their own. Investigators say in a desperate and reckless move, the woman got back behind the wheel and drove over the child a second time, causing more serious injuries. The child was airlifted to the hospital. The woman was arrested yesterday by U.S. Marshals and charged with aggravated assault. She's being held on a $150,000 bond. So far, no names have been released. A 23-year-old man from Diana is in custody, accused of serious crimes involving a child. Florencio Salceda II was arrested Friday after police say he barricaded himself inside a home, prompting a response from Marshall's special response team. Authorities were able to safely take him into custody. Salceda now faces multiple felony charges, including sexual assault of a child and continuous family violence. No further details have been released at this time. And a Winsboro ISD teacher is suspended this morning, accused of striking a student in the classroom. District officials say it happened on September 26th. The teacher allegedly hit a student in the back of the head with her hand. As soon as the report came in, Interim Superintendent Aaron Nation took action, placing the teacher on immediate suspension. Local law enforcement, Child Protective Services, and the Texas Education Agency have all been notified, and they're reviewing the case. Winsboro ISD said that it holds staff to high standards, and any violation could lead to termination. At this time, no additional details, including the teacher's name or the student's condition, have been released. Well, church shootings across the country, the most recent in Michigan over the weekend, have sparked a growing demand for safety training, including right here in East Texas. CBS 19's Ayana Aird takes us inside a local course that aims to prepare those church safety teams for anything.
In the wake of rising church shootings, safety teams in East Texas are stepping up.
The world's gone kind of crazy.
Interest in church safety training is spiking again as recent shootings across the country renew concern. At Vault Arms, more than 200 local safety team members have taken part in hands-on courses through the USCCA.
But we need to be more diligent and train on a more consistent basis.
Chris Fiegel, a retired officer and range manager, is making it his mission to ensure people stay prepared.
You know, there's a lot of school shootings and stuff going around, so I wanted to have more valuable information so I can take it along and pass it around.
Christy Sparks spent time Tuesday in a seminar geared towards informing her of valuable tools to protect her congregation.
We grew up here in East Texas in kind of a gun culture, and we get kind of a false sense of security because we know how to shoot a gun, but that doesn't really translate into defensive situations and actually winning a gunfight.
Vault Arms offers church safety trainings that focuses on situational awareness, identifying suspicious behavior, and preventing violence before it starts.
I want to encourage people to just be more diligent, pay attention to what's going on around them, behaviors of their friends and family.
Look how long he spends here, the whole time here.
God forbid a church shooting happens, so if they do something to neutralize the threat, understanding that law enforcement's responding as well, and how to get themselves identified to responding officers so they're not perceived as a threat.
And understanding the importance of self-defense laws to avoid legal repercussions.
Okay, let me see your hands, everybody. Hands. All right, move.
And so it's kind of a dynamic situation.
This is scary. I took part in a simulation acting as a church safety team member during an active shooter scenario. Safety teams play a critical role in protecting places of worship, and training like this could be life-saving.
Biggest thing I want people to get out of classes is just to never settle, just always be training, because I don't think training should ever end.
In Tyler, I'm Ayana Aird, CBS 19.
Vault Arms offers a wide range of safety classes from self-defense to protecting your place of worship. To view the full list of free classes available, visit our website, cbs19.tv. New developments this morning on DACA. Federal officials say they plan to reopen the program to new applicants. This comes after an appeals court ruling, and it would let some young immigrants brought to the U.S. as children receive temporary protection from deportation. However, new approvals in Texas would only protect recipients from deportation. They would not receive work permits like in other states. Texas has argued in federal courts that it is harmed by granting work permits and other benefits through the program. Due to ongoing litigation, DACA has been closed to new applicants since 2021. A Texas man is proving that it's never too late to learn to read. The 66-year-old recently started taking part in a literacy program run with the help of volunteers in Lubbock. Imani Jackson has the story.
Now, at 66 years old, Servania Wyatt is proof it's never too late to be a student. Twice a week, he walks through the doors of the Mahone Library with one goal: to learn. How much have you learned since February?
A lot. I learned how to read about 4 or 5 books and finish it.
How does that make you feel?
Make me feel good.
Servania joined Literacy Lubbock in February after his friend reached out on his behalf. That's where he met Beth Gilliams, a volunteer tutor and his very first teacher.
I think she's a good teacher. She's a good teacher, but we're trying to know that I didn't think she's going to be a teacher and a good friend at the same time.
Beth says she's seen him grow with every lesson.
We're starting from the very beginning, and he's done really well. And every time we practice on our sight words, he gets more and more of them right, and he's getting better at being able to sound out words that he doesn't know already, that he doesn't recognize.
What?
No.
Read.
Yes, look and read.
Okay, you want me to look and read? I do that. That's a ball, that's a toy.
Yes.
What I'm supposed to look for.
Well, I think that's it.
And his progress isn't going unnoticed. Thanks to a Facebook post from Officer Henry at the library, Servania's story reached Lubbock Mayor Mark McBrayer, who sent him a letter recognizing his accomplishment of logging more than 100 hours of studying. For Servania, that meant everything, and it's only motivated him to keep going.
I believe if I can do it, they can too. All you have to do is want to learn and do it, and stand up and finish it.
What started with getting his very first library card to children's books, then Texas history. Servania says every page brings him closer to his goal, to read independently and even someday take on computers.
That's an incredible story. Proves you can do anything at any time, right?
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
It reminds me of my grandfather. When he came over here from Czech Republic, he had to learn how to read in English.
That's amazing.
And but he didn't use Google. He uses it's a Czech version called Seznam, and it's kind of like Google. I remember that like it was yesterday. I can go on and on about that, but that's, yeah, absolutely awesome story.
I love
awesome.
that.
How cool is that?
We got some more awesome trending stories for you now. Well, yesterday was Taco Tuesday. Did y'all partake?
I did not.
I wish I would have.
I'm a big believer you can do Taco Tuesday any day.
I agree.
I agree.
It just got a whole lot sweeter. Nestle Toll House is rolling out cookie tacos. Yeah, you heard it right. Instead of tortillas, the shells are made from Toll House chocolate chip cookie dough, baked and shaped to hold your favorite fillings, from ice cream and frosting to fruit salsa and even spicy chocolate drizzle. The toppings are kind of endless. Limited edition kits will be given away online on October 7th, November 6th, and December the 4th.
Wow. I like that. I like that very much.
I was wondering if it would crumble in your hands, but
Me
it
too.
looks like it's not.
It's pretty solid.
Yeah, it looks very sturdy. Did you? And you can always tell by the because the sides obviously look thick, but the middle looks very, very thick as well. So I was thinking about that.
It looks pretty solid.
On yours?
Oh man, I'm not even a big sweets guy, but I would probably say some nice little little Snickers or Reese's in the middle, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Have something like that, put the
Yes.
Reese's on the side and just kind of stack it, about 3 of them jokers in there.
You're going full
Ooh.
sweet.
Oh,
Yesterday I was looking into this, and they said you could do mild, which would be more like the sweet version. Medium, they were saying maybe put some candied jalapenos on there.
Oh, you could do that. You could do
Or
that.
spicy with the spicy like chocolates, the ones that
Man.
are infused with like spicy flavor.
Yeah, I could see that. I think it's I didn't even think of candied jalapenos. That actually might be
It might be really good. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Sounds like it's like the possibilities are endless here.
Yeah.
I know. I'd
Wow.
try it though. I'd probably try the savory. I'm more of a savory person than a sweet.
Hey, who knows? Maybe we'll have it here on Morning Y'all one day. Here soon.
I know
Sounds
that
good to
Joel
me.
would probably put all the sweets on his. He'd probably put chocolate chip cookie with chocolate ice cream.
And maybe some Reese's.
And maybe some
Oh, yeah.
Reese's
Maybe some
too.
Reese's in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know me very
Possibilities.
well.
All right, centuries after a legendary shipwreck, a new discovery off Florida's coast is making some waves this morning, and it's worth more than $1 million. Yeah. Salvagers with Queen's Jewels LLC recovered more than $1 million in gold and silver coins. Sounds like it's out from a movie, right?
Yeah.
From the wreck of the 1715 Treasure Fleet, a convoy of Spanish ships that sank during a hurricane. Crews say they find it feels like recovering something that was lost forever. Some coins were pulled up near Vero Beach, adding to the rich history of Florida's Treasure Coast. The haul will now carefully be cataloged before eventually being split between the salvagers and the state of Florida. It like takes, I know y'all probably never seen Goonies, but it reminds me of
Oh, I
Goonies
have.
when they're
Oh, yeah.
looking for the treasure, right? That's what the whole kind of story is about.
Chester Copperpot.
Right? It's like my favorite movie of
Oh
all
my
time.
goodness, yeah, I love that movie too.
You do?
No, I never
You've
seen it.
never
No,
seen it?
I
You
never
got me.
seen it. I
Oh,
never
man.
seen it.
I kind of think you'd like it.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
the reason why I said that is because y'all were obviously y'all are best friends over the topic, and I'm like, oh, I want to feel invited. You know what I mean?
It's
But-
kids going looking for treasure,
Uh-huh.
and no one thinks they're ever going to find it, but of course they do. But they come against some other not so nice people looking for treasure.
$1 million is a lot. I am kind of curious why they need to split it with the state.
With the state of Florida?
Yeah, that was weird. That's weird. But hey, $1 million, even let's just say you split it up, you get about 100 grand. Hey, 100 grand would do a lot for me right now.
I know.
You know?
Right.
That stuff sounds like it actually never happened, but it did.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
were these treasures. All right.
Absolutely crazy.
Well, a fresh class of rising leaders from music and sports to politics and tech are getting international recognition in Time's latest Time 100 Next list. The issue features names from music, sports, politics, and business, with covers highlighting singer Tate McRae, actor Jonathan Bailey, and health tech CEO April Coe. Time says the list celebrates leaders shaping the future and redefining influence around the world. I always look forward to see who's on the list, every year.
Yeah, for me, I'm always thinking, man, what can I do to be on the list?
Right?
I'd like to be on the Time 100
How
one
did
day.
they not see that we started CBS19 Plus at 7 o'clock and they weren't like, hey, they're innovative, let's put them on the list?
Yeah, you know what I
right.
mean? We can talk about trending, we got good different questions of the day, different stories. I mean, it's a lot to go on. We're coming in early.
That's right.
You
That's
know,
right. We work hard.
Yeah.
See us, Time. We need you to see us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, but I'm sure for the people that are, awarded this or put on this list, I'm sure it's a big accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been into the list like this or keeping up with it, but working in news, it's like I have to, and I always think, like, man, they always nail it. It's always the people who are very, very influential and important and have something going for them. So I think it's cool.
And up and coming in this
Up
situation.
and coming, yeah, up
right?
and coming, for sure.
And they have their own Time cover now. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
That is really neat.
All right, well, let's get ready to go outside a little bit, see how things are looking if you want to get outside today. Is it going to be hot when you do your yard work?
I think by this afternoon it's definitely going to be a little toasty. I've said toasty many times today.
Toasty roasty?
Toasty roasty. Yeah, it's going to be a little sizzly out there. Definitely above average for this time of year. Man, first week of October, we're going to be at 90 for today. By and large here, I mean, it's great weather to get outside and do some yard work. I mean, it's going to be a little bit toasty in the afternoon, 90 to 92 for today and tomorrow. But we're going to be pretty much dry altogether. A couple of showers could be possible on Thursday. It's roughly adding up to about a 10 to 20% chance of rain, which is basically nothing. But some of us could pick up some showers. So, but anyway, it's going to be a very, very nice forecast to get outside. It's going to be a little bit dry, though. Things have improved with our fire danger here across the area, considering it being so dry. We're now down to low to moderate across the area. But we had some high risks yesterday. That's gone. So that's some good news there. And one thing that's really keeping us at bay here is those light winds. Yeah, sure, the humidity is low, but the light winds are really helping us out. But we will have a little bit of a drop in that humidity and an increase in that wind speed this weekend. So watching for that potential for maybe some elevated fire risks as we head into this weekend. So that's something that we're going to have to kind of watch for. But after this weekend, going into next week, we're going to start to get a little bit more humid, and we'll start to see some more rain chances come into the forecast. So again, breezy winds coming in Friday into Saturday, humidity drops. Could have some issues with fire weather. If you want to burn anything, I definitely would definitely pay attention to some of the weather conditions here. And of course, we'll keep you updated on the latest numbers and the latest trends as we go forward. Besides that, we'll get into the rest of your forecast details. I got your 10-day forecast coming up, so stick around.
.48, welcome back. I want to show you a live look at Big Tex this morning at the State Fair of Texas. Still tons of park goers going to be out having fun later today and spending probably some cash. The State Fair of Texas is known around the world for a lot of things. That tall cowboy, historic football matchups, and some of the best fried food around. But fashion has never topped that list until now. Here's Janelle Forte.
At the State Fair of Texas, you come for the corny dogs, stay for the rides, maybe catch a pig race or two. But this year, tucked along Nimitz Terrace, there's something different.
It may look like a Western saloon, but inside, it's not cowboys you'll find. It's fashion.
The minute you walked in, it's just like so nice and cool and great clothes, fun things to do.
For the first time, global fast fashion giant Shein is trying its hand at fair fun. And they're bringing more than just racks of clothes. They've got games, an embroidery station, and a deal that's Texas size. Spend $50, get a cowboy hat for free. It's all designed to bring Shein closer to American shoppers, even as questions swirl about tariffs on Chinese imports and what that can mean for future prices. Serious stuff, yes, but here, people aren't thinking about trade policy.
That was the first thing we looked when we went in there. Is my friend, she picked it up and she was like, are we still have Shein prices? And she was like, yes, we do.
3 days in, and Shein says they've already welcomed more than 10,000 visitors.
Here, it's about walking into the fair and walking out with a new outfit and maybe even a gift card.
The Shein Saloon will be here through October 7th. They're open Friday and Saturday until 10, weekdays until 9. And it's just one more thing to add to your fair day adventure. In Dallas, I'm Janelle Ford.
All right, well, folks, we have made it to October, and it sure does not feel like it, not only for here in East Texas, but for a large portion of the country. You see these ridges of high pressure. One of them is over the Midwest. We have another one to the southwest. We got this subtropical jet stream here, the polar jet stream, bringing in some warm air way up into parts of the Great Lakes there. That's going to keep us nice and warm and above average for the next several days, and also pretty dry. That is until we get to tomorrow. We have a small low pressure system that's just south of the coast of Louisiana. That's going to throw in some moisture into tomorrow. So we'll have a couple of showers possible for your day on Thursday. It's a very, very low end chance. check this out. So we go into this tomorrow afternoon, I should say. A couple of showers. You can see that wind coming in from the east. That's that Gulf moisture coming in. But you can see just how spotty these showers are. It's really brief, really small in coverage. If you do pick up a shower, it's likely going to be lasting maybe 10 to 15 minutes. Not really expecting a whole lot of rainfall either. The most we could probably see is maybe a 1/10 of an inch, maybe a little bit more under some of the heavier downpours. Could have a couple of lightning strikes, but you can just see again how small they are. A lot of us are staying pretty dry in between. Temperatures tomorrow, a little bit warmer than today. We'll be up to 90 for today, 92 for tomorrow, maybe even warmer in some parts of the area like Palestine and Crockett, probably reaching 93 to 94 degrees, and that northeast breeze holding on at about 5 miles per hour. So again, low 90s for tomorrow, 20% chance of rain is what I'm giving you here. And for the next 10 days here, upper 80s. Will probably likely hold on all the way into this weekend through the first part of next week. And then we do have a cold front that we're watching very closely. It's a little bit far out to tell right now just how much the temperatures are going to be knocked down, but certainly something to watch for. We'll at least be in the middle 80s by next Thursday.
I'm definitely looking forward to that. I know who else is looking forward to that. My daughter. She's turning 16.
Okay. Oh, really?
Oh, perfect.
She's looking forward to it. I'm scared to death. All right. We're going to take a little break from news to do our question of the day. Since it is October 1st, we want to know what's something that excites you about October. There, you know, sometimes is the leaves falling, crisp air. It is definitely crisp in the morning. Not so much at noon, but in the morning and closer towards the evening, it feels nice.
Yeah, I like October. I like these months. The fall months are my favorite, so I'm excited. I did tell you I was going to tell you what I grew up or what I was Halloween. A lot of times I grew up loving wrestling, like professional wrestling.
Yep.
So there's a few times I was like The Rock for Halloween, or I was like John Cena. You know what I mean, or something. But yeah, those are always like my costumes, my best costumes, and you know, looking back, were always those. Obviously, as I got older, I thought it'd be cool to be scary. But when I was younger, man, I had it, man. I was The Rock or John Cena.
You were going into the ring.
Oh yeah.
My favorite thing, I did love Halloween growing up. I think as you get older, you're like, I just got to pass out the candy. So it's a long night.
Yeah.
They will come early and they will leave late, those trick-or-treaters. But I dressed as a kid, I was either a clown or a witch. All the time.
Really?
I guess my mom just kept recycling the outfits.
Yeah.
At one point, I was over being a clown. I was like, I'm done.
What about you, Joel?
Oh man, yeah, you're bringing a lot of nostalgia when it comes to Halloween. I remember I was an Angry Bird for Halloween.
An Angry Bird.
I was an Angry Bird. Remember when Angry Birds was?
Yes.
Man. So I was an Angry Bird. What else was I was Darth Vader.
Oh, that's good. That's always a good one.
I was a mummy. My favorite monster is a mummy.
Okay.
So I was a mummy in 3rd grade, and then Dracula, I think, is a close second.
Any other thing else that you love about October now that we've started into these fall months?
I mean, just kind of like what I was saying earlier, just the cooler weather, which is definitely not something that we're seeing here in East Texas, but the leaves changing, I can just, you can smell the hay. I don't know. For me, I could just smell the hay and the pumpkin spice and the candles.
The candles. I can now burn my fall candles without my kids telling me it's too early, I feel like, right?
For sure. No, absolutely.
All right, people are talking on Facebook. They say less frequent times pushing the lawnmower because the grass doesn't keep growing so fast. Vicky says cooler weather and craft shows. And Judy's going with the lower humidity. Love it.
Alrighty.
All right, we're about to step away for a moment while we do our break in to our over-the-air broadcast with a news update for you. We'll be right back with more here on CBS 19 and CBS 19 Plus. Good morning, y'all. I'm Dana Dixon. Thanks for being with us for this news update. We're learning new details about a deadly crash involving a runaway teen and a stolen truck. Lufkin police say the teen sped off before officers could stop him, crashing into another car. That driver of the other car was 40-year-old Morgan Ashley Wright, who has since died from her injuries. She was the wife of Wells ISD Superintendent Friday Wright. State troopers are handling this criminal investigation of the crash, and an internal review is also underway. And now loved ones are not only remembering Morgan Wright as a fierce competitor in the rodeo, but also as a devoted mother and wife. Wright's rodeo roots ran deep. Her family has been part of the rodeo for generations, with her mother even a national champion. Morgan started competing at just 6 and went on to win dozens of titles and awards throughout her career. But beyond the trophies, friends say Morgan's true strength was her kindness and the way she lit up every room she entered, both in competition and at home with her family.
Like everything we do is competitive in the barrel racing, but anytime that she was around, her smile just lit up the room.
No, we just loved her. She was a bright light, just beautiful inside and out.
Morgan Wright leaves behind her husband Friday and their 2 daughters. Her family and friends say her spirit will live on in the arena and in the hearts of everyone she touched. A Winnsboro ISD teacher is suspended this morning, accused of striking a student in the classroom. District officials say it happened on September 26th. The teacher allegedly hit a student in the back of the head with her hand. Now, as soon as the report came in, Interim Superintendent Aaron Nation took action, placing that teacher on immediate suspension. Local law enforcement, Child Protective Services, and the Texas Education Agency have all been notified and are reviewing the case. Winnsboro ISD says it holds staff to high standards, and any violation could lead to termination. At this time, no additional details, including the teacher's name or the student's condition, have been released. All right, let's get over to Joel now. He's keeping a track of that heat and just how hot we're going to get today.
That's right. Yeah, over a large part of the country here, we got a couple of ridges of high pressure, which is a pattern that really keeps us hot and dry. So that's basically taken over the forecast for most of the country here. We have another one off to the southwest. I think that'll be the main one that's going to be affecting us here in East Texas, with that above average temperature trend and those dry conditions. However, we do have a small low pressure system that will move in from the Gulf. Specifically going into tomorrow, we'll have a little bit more moisture and a couple of chances for some showers. So we're going to be dry for today, but for tomorrow, a couple of showers will be possible, and the most we could probably see is maybe about 1/10 of an inch of rain. This is what it looks like in your future skycast. So as we go into tomorrow afternoon, see a couple of occasional pop-up showers coming in from the east. They'll be very, very brief. Anything that does develop will be really quick to move in and out. It's not going to be all that impactful. Other than that, it's going to be a very dry 7-day forecast, only about a 20% chance of rain for Thursday, down to 89 for Friday, upper 80s for the rest of your 7-day forecast.
Good morning.
Hi, Dana. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing super duper.
All right. Thank you. I think we're going to get started here in just a few minutes. Whenever they tell me it's time to go. Does that sound good? How long do you have, Representative Moran? I can't hear you. I can't hear him, y'all.
I've got as long as you need. Can you hear me now?
I think I mean, I have several questions. I would say maybe around like 10. Is that okay?
Yeah. That works. It just helps me understand how long my responses need to be.
Okay.
If it's a 3-minute segment, I'll keep it really short.
Yeah. I have, I mean, we don't have to get all questions. I have about a dozen questions.
Yeah.
Different
we
things.
probably won't get to all those.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
Got to be prepared, though.
Absolutely. I wouldn't expect anything less from you.
Welcome back to Morning, y'all. The U.S. government is now shut down. Non-essential federal workers are staying home. Without them, some government functions are on hold. Others continue with longer wait times and less customer services. The main sticking point is health care this time around. Democrats want to reverse Medicaid cuts and stop enhanced Obamacare subsidies from expiring. The Congressional Budget Office estimates about 750,000 federal workers face those furloughs. And joining us now is East Texas Congressman Nathaniel Moran, representing Texas 1st District. Congressman, thank you so much for being with us.
Good morning, Dana. I'm coming to you from Washington, D.C., and it's a much different day here this morning as I walk to work. Many fewer folks that are here working, a lot less traffic. And it's unfortunate that the Democrats have put politics over people, as they've done several times over the last weeks and months in their policy decisions.
Yeah, East Texans waking up wanting to know what's the immediate impact, though, to their family.
Yeah, as you said, there's going to be a lot of furloughs that happen. And as we know, government shutdowns do not save any money ultimately. I don't seek a shutdown, but neither do I fear it. And certainly I'm not going to roll over to unreasonable demands by the Democrats to prevent a shutdown. We provided a clean CR to the Democrats several weeks ago. The House Republicans passed that and sent it to the Senate that would extend funding until November 21st. That was a very reasonable position to take to keep government going while we negotiated on these other matters that they want to raise. But they're being completely unreasonable in their demands. They're demanding not just to unroll all of the $1.1 trillion worth of waste, fraud, and abuse savings that we got in the working families tax cuts, but some of that includes like a $50 billion provision for rural health care. That's an impact on East Texans. East Texans are likely going to see a little slower service when it comes to Social Security and HHS. HHS is likely going to have about 40% of their employees furloughed or more. They're going to see TSA problems. They're going to see maybe some issues with air traffic control because a lot of these folks call in since they're not getting paid during this time frame, even though they're having to work. And so it does create a hardship. It's going to create a hardship on a number of veterans and military families because when we get to payday, they're not going to get paid, even though they're called on to work, and that's simply not the right direction to go. Again, we want to be reasonable. The Democrats have been unreasonable through this process.
Why do you feel like Democrats and Republicans are so far apart in this health care arena, where that's really the main sticking point right now?
Democrats are involved in a real internal debate, and they're having a problem internally on their side of the aisle, figuring out which direction they want to go. That's why they've thrown everything and the kitchen sink on top of this 7-week CR to try to demand as demands for moving forward. Not just the health care issues, which I'll be glad to address, but also things like they want to undo the ability to do rescissions because they don't want us to cut spending. They want to undo the $50 billion and the health care, rural health care fund that I talked about. But when you talk about the enhanced ACA subsidies, here's what they're betting on. They're betting on the American people not finding out the truth of what's really at stake here. We're talking about a COVID-era program. It started in 2020 by the Democrats. It was set to end in 2025, and the Democrats set that termination date when they established this 5-year temporary program. But now that we're here in 2025 and those enhanced subsidies, which really have no income cap limit and have really only served to help the health insurance companies drive up their profits, it hasn't reduced premiums at all. Now that time frame has gotten here for that to end, the Democrats are screaming that they don't want it to end. Well, that good old saying, there's nothing more permanent than a temporary government program, and that's what we're facing right now. Is Democrats want to extend this program at the cost of about $400 billion to the taxpayers, a program that they started in 2020 and they set to end in 2025. It needs to end. COVID era is over with.
How do you feel? How many East Texans do you think fall in that category of people who are going to be furloughed and not get a paycheck from the federal government?
Well, it's hard to say. Certainly more of the people that are going to be furloughed are here in Washington, D.C., and there may be some incidental positives about that because, frankly, I think the White House and OMB is going to take a hard look at what employees are there, which ones are willing to work, which ones are not willing to work, which ones are willing to accomplish the mission of the president, and try to use this time frame to even thin out the federal government even more. That may be the only positive that comes out of this in this time frame. But truly, back in East Texas, we're going to continue. I can tell you, our office is going to continue to assist citizens as they need it. They're still going to get their Social Security checks. They're still going to see the benefits that are rolling out that typically happen on a monthly periodic basis. But services from the federal government are going to be slower, and you're going to see certainly a lot of disruption as it relates to, I think, travel, air travel, and federal installations.
Yeah, what do you say to those people who are going to be working but not getting paid?
Yeah, it's a problem. And again, this is one of the reasons why I don't think shutdowns really benefit us at all. And I said that even under a Democratic administration. I don't think these shutdowns are beneficial because you have people that either are working and not getting paid while they're working, and then they have to endure hardships during the time that they don't get a paycheck on their payday. Or you send people home and furlough them, and ultimately, under the law, they get paid when they come back. So now we're talking about paying people that didn't work for a time period. Well, that's not value to the taxpayer. That's not giving the best and highest use of our taxpayer dollars, and certainly not giving efficiency to government. So. I like the prospect. Dusty Johnson, my friend from South Dakota, has a bill that would roll 14 days of a CR if we get to a point where the government becomes unfunded. It's just an automatic CR for 14 days to keep the government funded. Ron Johnson on the Senate side proposes the same from Louisiana. It's a good way to avoid this brinksmanship that happens on both sides of the aisle. Frankly, let's just be honest, it happens on both sides of the aisle. There's no reason to put the American people in the position to have to face the consequences of that brinkmanship. Instead, we need to get down to business and get the problem solved, get 60 votes in the Senate, which is what we need to pass funding.
If we look back to 2018 during the last government shutdown, as soon as that first missed paycheck happened for a lot of people, you mentioned this just a few minutes ago, in about 2 weeks, we started seeing those sick calls come in from TSA officers, and it really increased at airports across the country. Do you think that's what it's going to take again this time around to get this government shutdown to end, or do you think there's something that can happen between now and then to get these two sides to come together to do what's right for the American people?
I think it's going to take political pressure like that because this Schumer shutdown, and it's squarely on Chuck Schumer's shoulders, this Schumer shutdown is only happening because he's betting politically that the American people will support the Democrats in their unreasonable demands. That's not going to be the case. When they get political backlash over the next few days, from their constituents and from people across the country saying, why aren't you being reasonable? Why aren't you just accepting what the Republican House passed several weeks ago? And that is a clean CR that keeps funding going till November 21st. And in the meantime, go ahead and dialogue and get the issues resolved that you want to get resolved. But how in the world do they expect us to agree to unreasonable demands, to unroll all the good work we did in the working family tax cuts bill, and to trim waste, fraud, and abuse in that, and then the rescission packages? And then why would they try to blame the Republicans for a termination of an enhanced COVID-era subsidy program that only benefits the health insurance companies, has driven up premiums for taxpayers across the country for their health care? Why would they blame the Republicans for that ending when they're the ones that set the termination date naturally at the end of 2025? if they thought it should have been permanent, then they should have done that in the first place. And of course they didn't. And we're glad to see it ending, because it's a big burden on the taxpayers, and it's only helping our health insurance companies.
Democrats also want to reverse Medicaid cuts. What do you have against doing that, and where do you stand on that health care side of things?
Yeah, the cuts to eligibility and the changes to eligibility in Medicaid were appropriate, because what we did was we said, look, if you're not eligible or you shouldn't be eligible, you shouldn't be receiving these benefits. That's a waste, fraud, and abuse matter. We had more than 1 million people that were taking advantage of Medicaid in 2 different states. So they would come to Texas and sign up. They'd go to Louisiana and sign up. We wanted to cull them off the rolls. We wanted to check eligibility rolls. The Democrats have said in their bill they do not want to check the eligibility rolls of Medicaid. Now, there's a reason for that, and it's an unfortunate reason. They want everybody to have it. We've got more than 70 million people on Medicaid right now. It was never intended for that. About 23+ million of those were brought on after in the last 10 years, and a significant number of those folks are doing nothing. They're sitting at home, they're not working, they are able-bodied adults, and so the changes we made to Medicaid eligibility in the working families tax cuts did not impair the elderly, the disabled, the mothers with kiddos, did not impair those folks. And so don't let the Democrats let you believe that they did. It said to able-bodied adults, get up off the couch, work, volunteer, go to school. If you're not willing to take responsibility for your life, then you're not going to receive these benefits. That's where the eligibility changes were. So the benefits won't change. It's just who's eligible for it, and it's the people that should be eligible for it that are going to continue to get that.
You know, trust is big here. The people in East Texas are trusting. That's really where the Medicaid fundings come from, and I think they're worried about that. You know, they hear that there's going to be Medicaid cuts, and they think it's going to be coming to them. How do you keep giving them faith in your representation to do what's best for them and help solve this problem as quickly as possible to get the government back working?
Yeah, you know, this communication is vital, and so I appreciate you having me on, and we try to do as much local communication as we can, because there's so much surface level political talk on the national news, frankly, that the truth gets lost. And I encourage all of my folks to dig deep into what the Democrats have filed, what they're proposing, and what we've done and what we're proposing. Get past the talking points and understand the details, because the details matter. And that's why the East Texans sent me to Congress, was to dig in the details, to work hard, to study hard, and to make sure that I understood those details before we put them into place. This bill that we passed this past summer was one of the most transformative pro-family, pro-farmer, pro-business bills in the United States history. We avoided the largest tax hike in American history by passing the Working Families Tax Cuts Act this past year. We're reducing mandatory spending. We're trying to do the things the American people sent us here to do. That's critically important. We are giving back more money to individuals, to families, to farmers in their pockets, so that they can go out and buy better health care, so they can invest in their future, they can save for their retirement, they can spend money for their educational resources for their kiddos. That's what we want Americans to do. The federal government should not be making all those choices. We should be giving more tax dollars back to these individuals, restoring their liberty, and letting them make the decisions about where the dollars go.
Okay, 2 more before we go. One question a lot of people are asking this morning is, if people are being furloughed and not getting their paychecks, why is Congress not have their paychecks suspended? Where do you stand on that?
Yeah, I would love for our paychecks to be suspended. Right now, the Constitution does not allow for that. There's a constitutional provision that does not allow for members of Congress's pay to be suspended. I certainly would support suspending pay for members of Congress. I know there's a couple of propositions out there, and I certainly would support those to make sure that members felt the heat if we go into a shutdown. And frankly, I would support the notion that if we go into a shutdown, not only should members not receive their pay, but then when we come out of the shutdown, members should not get their back pay. I think it's ridiculous that we can't get these problems solved on the front end. We need to feel that pain.
Okay, bottom line, what needs to happen here to get the government back open as soon as possible?
Yeah, it's political pressure on people to be reasonable. And right now, the Democrats are not being reasonable. So folks need to call congressional offices around the country and say, hey, listen, we need you to be reasonable. We need you to put the people first and put principles first, put the taxpayer first in the decisions that you make, and stop playing political games with this shutdown. Republicans have done that. We have been reasonable. We have, in fact, passed that clean CR. We've extended the government funding until November 21st. That is sitting at the desk of Chuck Schumer and the Senate Democrats over on the Senate side, and they need to pass that. They can take it back up, pass that, and get us back to work tomorrow, and they need to feel the pressure.
So whatever side you fall on this issue, you got to let your local representatives know that are in Congress in Washington. Thank you so much for being with us. Appreciate you, Congressman Moran.
My pleasure, Dana. Thanks so much.
Take care. Back to some local news here in East Texas. This just coming in. A Tyler ISD school bus is involved in a crash this morning. The good news here, parents, no students were hurt. We're told it happened around 6:50 in the 500 block of West 32nd Street in Tyler. That's according to Tyler ISD Chief of Communications, Jennifer Hines. Hines says that no students were hurt in that crash again. First responders, though, went to the scene and are currently there. All right, let's get another check of your weather as you get ready to head out. Weather shouldn't be a problem on the roads today.
Yeah, no, not this morning, not really anytime into today. It'll be very summer-like as we head into this afternoon. We'll be up to 90 degrees for today, up to 92 for tomorrow. We have a small chance of an isolated shower or two, but otherwise most of us will be on the dry side. That will continue to be the case all the way through this weekend. We'll be in the upper 80s for your weekend and into next week. And we'll also have a chance to cool down just a little bit on Thursday. Watching for another cold front to come through the area. That'll dwindle our temperatures down just a little bit. We'll continue to keep an eye on the latest temperature trends for that. But otherwise, it's going to be a toasty one.
Oh, we're toasty and roasty here in East Texas.
That's
but how
right.
about this? It's a big win for a big bear. Yeah, Chunk, that's his name. A 1,200-pound brown bear with a broken jaw, bless it, has finally claimed the crown in this year's Fat Bear Week. This is new to me. I've been seeing this all over social media, the news feeds. The fan favorite at Katmai National Park beat out Bear 856 after 3 super runner-up finishes. Chunk packed on the pounds thanks to a record run of salmon, and he earned the title for help from the more than 1.5 million online votes. People who love Chunk. Despite his injury, rangers say he's still one of the biggest, baddest bears on the Brooks River. Yeah, it's not stopping him from taking part in some salmon.
Hey, 1,200 pounds. My boy's eating good, feeling good. Hibernation right around the corner. Hey, I'm sure he's feeling good.
I like my salmon sushi as well.
I'm actually not a salmon guy.
Oh, you don't?
No, I don't really like fish.
At all?
No, so I couldn't be a good bear. I'd be a terrible bear. You know what I mean? That's not the animal I think I would be. You know
what animal would you be? Who knew we were going to have this question this morning?
What animal would I be? I would say probably like a German Shepherd or something like that. Yeah, very
loyal.
Very loyal. Probably a little too quick-tempered, depending on what the situation is. I think it'd be that. I have a lot of discipline though, so yeah, that's what I would think.
I love it.
I would be a cat.
You'd be a cat.
I like that.
I would be a cat because I like to sunbathe.
Oh, nice. My Chihuahua likes to sunbathe. She loves it. Now, the Australian Shepherd, not so much. She's 2 minutes outside. She's like panting, like
ready to go in the house.
She's ready to go.
It's time. Yeah,
All right.
I hear you.
Thanks so much for continuing your day with us here on Morning Y'all on CBS 19 Plus. Catch the noon show. It's coming up on CBS 19 and right here on CBS 19 Plus. Keep it here for the latest news and weather throughout the day. I want to show you what you can catch on CBS 19 Plus. We've got the latest news, weather, and sports across East Texas and the state. We've also got news catered to the fall season as we ring in October, which we've been talking about all day. Have a great morning. We'll see you back here tomorrow.